SEMO ESPN.
This is a proud presentation of Mississippi River Radio Sports, the sports authority.
Live in the studio,
It's time for the Red Hawks Culture Show.
live from Wings, etc.
Hear the Culture Show each week on SEMO ESPN 1220 and 1470.
And also at SEMOESPN.com and the SEMO ESPN app.
Also, watch the Red Hawks Culture Show webcast live at SEMOESPN.com.
Now, let's go live to Wings, etc.
Live
for the Red Hawks Culture Show.
We are at Wings, etc. in Cape Girardeau, and we invite you to stop by. We have a outstanding show lined up as we get ready to recap the Red Hawks' fourth consecutive football victory and the first time they've won back-to-back road games since 2010 as they go on the road and they defeat the University of Tennessee at Martin by a final score of 56-33. The head coach of the Red Hawks, Tom Matukowicz, is here, and we will also be talking it over with the tight ends coach at Southeast and the director of football operations, Joe Ools, will join us, and Red Hawks starting tight end Austin Crump, who caught the game-winning touchdown against the Southern Illinois University Salukis. He will be our guest as well, but we want to remind you that here at Wings, etc., Mondays mean that their award-winning jumbo wings are just 69 cents. That's 69 cents for the award-winning jumbo wings. And if you're interested in their lunch specials, their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $6.49. And they've got a full menu in addition to their award-winning wings. They have a full menu which include their freshly made burgers, wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, smoked ribs, and much more. And don't forget, they are open late on the weekends because the games run late. And they are open 7 days a week, not only in the Cape location where we are now, but also in the Jackson location. We'll be back here in Cape next week after the Red Hawks knock off Tennessee State, which is the opponent at the Houck Field location coming up at 1 o'clock on Saturday. Let's welcome in the Red Hawks head coach, Tom Matukowicz. How has your weekend gone so far?
Oh, pretty good. It's amazing. The sun is brighter, the grass is greener, the food tastes better. I guess that's what happens after a win. I should be mature enough in my faith that it doesn't feel like that, but it does. And you love to enjoy the results of the work through the week. So it was a fun weekend.
So not only when you win football games, I mean, you knock off the fourth-ranked team in the country, that is a fabulous win. I'm sure that has a certain feel. Wins have a certain feel. Do road wins have a different feel?
I think they're definitely going into the game, the sense of urgency and just the that's just one more thing that's against you. I think that's really what I look at it. I don't know, a sense of accomplishment, not necessarily, because a win's a win. But, that was why it was such a critical game, because we were playing on the road. We knew, it was going to be a really, really tough test for us and for our players to lock in. And I love the energy. I know you're up in the box, but we started the game well. But also, even late in the fourth quarter, we had several big plays in our side. If you looked at our sideline, you would have thought that was the first quarter, even though we were at a 3-score lead. So love the energy that our sideline had.
I thought in the second half, and you could make an argument that you had already kind of locked up the game probably at this point, but still, Zach Hall made that interception, that diving one-handed interception, and it looked like the sideline reacted like you had just won the football game. I think that's kind of what you're talking about.
Exactly right. I told them, it was deer season, opening deer season. I mean, they didn't have a great record. It wasn't going to be two people in the stands, except your mom or whatever. But, go make plays for your brothers, Go out there and perform for your team. And there was a lot of great performances. We had 3 all-conference, or whatever they call the players of the week, 3 of them. But the thing that I like about the players of the week in the OVC is it's somebody new. Like that's pretty impressive, right? And, everybody has 2 or 3 All-Americans or All-Conference or whatever. But to be able to have multiple people show up, I mean, not the same specialist, 2 different specialists, right? That's what's pretty cool about this team. And we've just, sometimes like Jacksonville State, obviously we played really, really well on defense. and gave us a chance to win because of that. But UT Martin, we played really, really good on offense and gave it a chance to win. It's just, each week looks a little different, and whatever needs to happen that week, that unit or those players step up and respond.
And when you talk about Specialist of the Week, it was sophomore kicker Kendrick Tiller, who had just won the kicking job from senior Nico Letang. Came into the game. You gave him full kicking responsibilities, and that is field goals and PATs. And Kendrick Tiller went 3 for 3 in we went 3 for 3 in field goal goals, opportunities. Yeah. 36, 38, 41 yards.
Those are huge.
Those are big plays because, I know you tacked on the late touchdown with Anthony Cooper, but prior to that, without those field goals, that's a tighter football game.
Exactly, 9 points. I mean, how big are 9 points? And like we talked before the game, you looked at our team, field goal's been an issue. We left several points on the board throughout the season, and so he did a great job of stepping up. And, that one thing about an opportunity, that was always guaranteed. Like, we knew he was going to kick the first one, but really after that, you just got to do what's best for the program and gives us the best opportunity to win. But he took that and prepared really, really hard for the week. Last Monday, we have practice at 7. I got there at 5:30 to get a little walk-in, and he was there practicing. No one knew that. He didn't tell anybody, but that tells you the kind of preparation and how important it is for him to do his piece. So super proud. He's a Lebanon, Missouri guy. The only thing I thought was good in Lebanon is the trout fishing over there. I don't know if you've ever been there, but evidently they got a kicker too.
So Kendrick Tiller getting the job and running with it, Coach. I mean,
yeah,
you say a guy comes in, has 5 PATs that he makes and 3 field goals, all from 35 yards and out, and goes 3 for 3. I would say there's a guy that took his opportunity and ran with it.
Exactly. And now he's got to do a better job because it's a different deal. Just like you're doing right now. You're throwing all kinds of sugar-coated lies at him, and he can't listen to them. Like, he hasn't arrived. It's not over. You're not, there's always room for improvement and all those things. So now, hey, I show up, they're just going to go in. Well, that's not how they work. You got to put in the work to get it done.
So when you also think about the coaches around college football, each week they vote on the top 25 poll. You got a coaches poll, and then you've got a stats media poll where the media votes, and those are the 2 major recognized polls. There are a couple of smaller polls. You can say you were ranked in one of those polls, the College Sports Madness poll last week. But the coaches around the league conspired against you for the sugar-coated lies, and they have ranked you number 24 in the country this week, Coach.
Yeah, same thing I told the team since we won outside. I said, as soon as you flip on your phone, it's going to start dinging with a bunch of sugar-coated lies, and we're having a great year. You could have diabetes if you eat it all. Like, what are you going to do? Like, it doesn't change anything in what we got to get done. But it also is fun to appreciate where we've come from. Like, obviously, we got ranked 24 from our previous games, not our future games. So people are noticing and talked about we got to earn our respect. We were a 3-point dog in that game.
Yep.
And so people still have an opinion or an impression about SEMO football that's based on the past, not the present. And so this team, these coaches, and everybody hopefully will change and get more respect for our program nationally.
I think it's interesting. The last few years, if you had won the opening coin toss, this is just the coin toss, but I think it's a mindset with this football program. You would more often than not defer until the second half. You wanted to get the second half kickoff. Yeah. Not this year. You want to get your offense on the field. Now, they deferred, and so you got your offense on the field, but you have been wanting to start first on offense. And the way that this game starts out, you take the opening drive. It only takes you 3 plays. Christian Wilkerson catches a 58-yard touchdown pass. You're on the board. Kendrick Tiller punches through the PAT. Then they botch the kickoff. You fall on the football, and then you punch it into the end zone 3 plays later. So before their offense has even taken the field, you're up 13-0 in the football game.
Love how you started. That tells you a lot about your preparation through the week. the energy level and all those things. So that I showed the team that this morning about how we started that football game. And we always talk about the turnover margin and how that affects a game. And the quickest way to lose a game is to turn it over, and the quickest way to win it is to get a turnover and to bang them with a long play, and then all of a sudden they muff the KOR. I mean, that was a huge momentum swing. And
did it look to you like he was calling for the fair catch and just didn't make the catch? Because every kick after that, they fair caught everything after that.
I don't know. You know, every you got to be. That's one thing you have to be disciplined with your eyes. Like I have my job on kickoff. I watch the 2 and the 3, and so sometimes you'll miss other plays because you got to do your job. So then I can ask whoever's watching 4 and 5 what happened there. You know, and all the way. So I didn't even see him muff it. When I saw it, the ball was on the ground, and again, Aaron made that play, a true freshman that, you know, just makes plays and it just happens to impact the football game as a true freshman. It's pretty impressive.
Aaron Alston, and you actually is a 6'4" freshman receiver. And you and I were talking about him during our pregame conversation Saturday before the game. And you were talking about in your 5 years here, he is one of the more talented freshmen maybe that you have recruited here to Southeast. Is that right?
Yeah, very much so. You know, when you combine everything, because he's 6'4", you know, if he was 5'10", it doesn't mean as much. But when you put all of his skill sets together, and he's just a really talented. He's good at football. Like he probably could play safety. I mean, he's just good at the game of football, and plus he's 6'4", plus he's fast, plus he's got great ball skills. You know, all the things you want. Plus he's kind of got a motor. You know, a lot of wideouts don't get recruited on their blocking, obviously. And so when they get here, you know, that's a challenge that we got to get them to block like Division I wideouts. But really, he's a pretty aggressive, physical guy. I'm kind of being a fanboy right here or whatever, but it's the truth. I really like him.
So the guy who does have some pretty good receiving skills as well is Christian Wilkerson. Coach, 2 years ago, he set a school record for yards per completion, and he did it as a freshman. And you threw a lot of deep balls to him as a freshman. Now, as a junior, he broke a 49-year-old school record. The record for the all-time most receiving yards in a game, 211. Art Miller did it against Evansville in 69. That's 49 years that record had stood. Not only did he break it, but he shattered it. 8 catches, 263 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Talk about the evolution and the game that Christian Wilkerson brings to the football stadium every Saturday.
Well, he's always had the deep ball threat, and you know, we're doing a better job protecting. Obviously, we're doing a better job connecting on those throws with Santa. He's doing a good job. But the thing that I'll compliment him on is one of those was just a simple out, just a quick 5-yard out route that he got up the sideline and stiff-armed a guy and broke a tackle. That's what we're hoping to see more, is just more run after catch, because you know he is really big, he's really physical, and if he could put that in his game, you know, it's a lot easier to go complete those 5-yard plays than the 60-yard plays. So he just needs to keep working on his craft and trying to you know, get better just like all of us.
Boy, I don't know if what Tennessee State is going to bring to the table with their defensive secondary, but it just looked like on Saturday that Santa Catarina could have hit Wilkerson with the deep ball anytime he wanted to. They had a hard time covering Christian Wilkerson.
Yep, it goes back to that balance. You know, they decided to try and take Quez and the run game out of it, and so they played a lot of man, no help coverage, and so we were balanced enough to protect and to deliver the ball deep. And so it, you know, it's like a full circle. It's because of our run game that our pass game is better. And I think we're going to be able to run it on most teams, you know, if we show up to play. But we haven't always been able to throw it, and that's really the ceiling of our offense. Can you throw it, and can you throw it when they know you're going to throw it and we need a play? But, you know, you just feel good about, you know, Daniel Santa Catarina is a guy you don't really talk about statistically, and he's not a national statistic guy, but, you know, that 2-minute drive before half was unbelievable. First of all, it was like 16 plays, but that 4th and 8 play, he scrambled, gets the first. There's 6 seconds on the clock. You know, obviously we're just going to throw it in the end zone or kick a field goal. Touchdown. Completely changes the whole aspect of that football game. You know, if we didn't get down there on that drive. And I mean, he just made plays that he's always made. You know, he's just found a way to move chains.
And also on that 4th and 8 play right before halftime, I was stunned that they went to video. He got it easily.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe they went and reviewed it. But the one thing that it did give you an opportunity to see, I think it was Richie Eisenhart that blew up the guy that was coming after him. If Eisenhart doesn't blow up that would-be tackler, he probably doesn't get that first down. And that's got to be one of the best blocks of the year. And it came from a wide receiver.
Oh, it is one of the most sexy 2 seconds of film you'll ever see in your life. Him doing – I wish, you know, those GIFs, you could just – those 2 seconds of video, just loop it. And it is fabulous because, you know, this – Richie looks like just a homeless guy walked in off the street. I mean, he's got basically nothing going for himself except a heart that couldn't fit in a normal man's chest. And for him to make a play for his teammates like that is just – you know, gets my motor running for sure.
Yeah, a marvelous block by Richie Eisenhart. So at that time, the final score of the first half, Christian Wilkerson catches a 15-yard pass from Santa Catarina. 16 plays, as you mentioned, 91 yards. You go into the locker room up by 13, 30 first-half points. What are you saying to your football team at halftime?
Just one is we did have a couple stupid penalties. We let our emotions get away from us. So we just reminded them. Sometimes, you know, when your ego's involved, you just want to be right. But really what you want is to win. Like we had 2 holding calls at receiver. I was like, hey, they're obviously going to call it different this week. Like we can yell at the officials and say, hey, it's not holding, but guess what? You want to win? Well, we have to adapt and adjust just like anything in life. They're going to call it. You got to change that. So those were the messages at halftime. And then just like always, you know, are you still hungry? Do you want to go make some more plays? Are we having enough fun out there? You know, all the things that talk about.
You know, for a second straight week as well, you stayed away from a large amount of penalties. You're only flagged 5 times in the game.
Yeah.
But a lot of penalties were called last week on Jacksonville State. And then Saturday, UT Martin was flagged 12 times for 125 yards in the football game.
I showed my kids, I mean, they cost themselves a bunch. The penalty right before the opening drive, they had a penalty on second down or whatever they held. I mean, it just kills you. And so, you know, that's the part of playing smart where we're trying to go from, you know, like I talk about the checkers to chess thing. Like it, you know, you have to have a strategy to everything, and everything you do matters, and having stupid penalties kill the chance of being successful, and they're completely avoidable. You know, it's not a talent-based thing. We had the roughing, by example, we had the roughing the quarterback, but you know what? When I watch it, he's doing what we're told. It's the inconsistencies. Like they're going to call this roughing this way, and then it's hard for us to know exactly how to coach our guys, and it's really hard to do it, right? You know, I just wish there was more clarity and more, hey, this is exactly roughing and this is not roughing. Then you can get your guys better. Like targeting. Targeting, in my mind, is very clear. And we can now then coach our players, and when there's a mistake, it's obvious, and we can coach them. But right now, like I told them, hey, that's what I'd do that same thing again. Because the problem is, hey, he pump fakes, and then you just let up or whatever, and then you lose a game because the ball goes down the field when you could have hit him. Like, you don't know if he's going to throw it or not. But we did have the one dead ball foul where we, you know, got on a guy for stupid reason, which comes down to manage your emotions. You know, it's easy when you're calm and all that, but when you're heated up, you know, that's when you make a mistake and you cost the team 15 yards. You're gonna have a hard time. That's going to stop that drive, which could have led to points.
So you have certainly decreased the penalties the last couple of games. The running game, now you went into the game knowing that UT Martin in conference games was the number 2 rush defense in the entire conference. I mean, they have been slowing down running games, and you get 198 yards rushing from your team, and it's led by Marquez Terry, 123 on the ground, 2 touchdowns, including an 18-yarder. But there he was in the first quarter again, limping off the field with that ankle, and you're thinking, boy, I wonder if he's going to come back, and if he does come back, is he going to be effective? And the answer to both of those questions, yes, he came back and he was effective.
Yeah, and he felt good, and we're like, hey, let's ride him. 30-some, what do you have, 30 carries? Yeah,
he had
so
20 carries at halftime.
Yeah, so we were like, hey, he feels good, let's ride him, and he'll let us know if he's not quite right, because you had to stay, even though we felt like we could throw it, you can't go down that scary road. That's the quickest way to all of a sudden sack fumble, all the bad things that happen. You have to keep them honest. And so we had to stay committed to the run game, even though it was hard. And those are all 138 yards were earned. It wasn't like he broke one out for 80 like he has in the past. Like every one of those were hard-earned yards.
Really hard-earned yards.
Yeah.
And you utilize them as far as the passing game goes. Got him the football a couple of times, a couple of catches for 20 yards.
Yeah.
And, I was watching the L.A. Rams game yesterday, and they're playing the Packers. And Todd Gurley is probably 1 or 2 in the voting for most valuable player. So he is, the NFL's leading rusher. They run him out of the backfield on a play, and he goes on a crossing route. And there's not a Green Bay Packer player that's even accounting for him, and he goes in for a touchdown. But those guys who are the special types of running backs, as long as they, have some ball skills, they can really be effective in a passing game, can't they?
No doubt, because just think run after catch, how good's Quez out in space? One-on-one, he's dynamite. And so we have been able to get him the ball. He's been banged up a little bit, but we need to continue down that train. And really all of our running backs, Zion Custis and Mark Robinson, are both good out of the backfield catching them.
And, Zion Custis did not play in the Jacksonville State game, but you got him in there. 3 rushes for 23 yards in the game, so he averaged almost 8 yards a carry. Got a little playing time there, but I know you at least want to spell Quez once in a while.
Yeah, and you're going to need a bunch of them. And so just got to continue to get him ready to play. And if his number's called, he knows he's got to perform, and if not, he'll cheer his teammates on. And
Daniel Santa Catarina, your quarterback coach, another turnover-free game. That's back-to-back turnover-free games, not only for your quarterback, for your team. Your first 2 games of the year, you did not have a turnover. So I think you lead the nation now in turnover margin and in receiving turnovers or forcing turnovers. You're just doing a marvelous job. And we were talking about it on our Sports Talk show this morning with Marty Michow about, hey, it's not a fluke that this team has a really good turnover ratio and a turnover margin, because you talk about it all day, every day. All day, every day. It's not a fluke. It's something that you guys focus on religiously, right?
Yeah, and it was a lesson I learned. Like, as a head coach, when I first got here, I tried to delegate that. And I learned that that's a program thing. Like, I'm responsible for that. And because you can't delegate, it's too big, it's too important. It's got to come from the head man on down. But I'm telling you, Coach Langford, like, how many fumbles you seen a running back have since he does a great job. Our offensive guys do a great job talking about it, doing drills. Obviously, the quarterback has the biggest part to this, because he handles the ball every day and makes great decisions, but also defense, like, you got to take away, and they're taking the ball away. I don't know what we have now. It's in the 20s, I think. But, we got to continue. But obviously it's points off a turnover. When they muff the kickoff return, if we don't score any points there, then it doesn't matter. And so we were able to capitalize on those, and we're scoring a lot of points, because also I think our offense also had 3 drives inside the 20. That's happened more than than once because of those turnovers.
And I think back to the way that you got the second half going against Jacksonville State. You immediately force a fumble for their quarterback, Zarek Cooper, inside the 20-yard line, and you punch it in for a touchdown. So, I mean, you set the tone with a turnover, to start the second half in that game.
Yeah, I mean, the why it's hard is because you can't consciously think about, like, Swift's not pass rushing thinking about getting the ball out. It's just a habit. He doesn't even think about it. He just does it. That's how you play fast, and that's how you get the ball out. And so it takes 21 days to form a habit. So if you got a bad habit out there, it's also hard to take off the film. And so, we work on it constantly. The staff does an amazing job, and the players are, killing it.
One thing that you had talked about, your defense, there's no question you have had a playoff caliber defense the last few years. I mean, you've had a pretty elite defense in the Ohio Valley Conference, and you were hoping the offense could catch up just a little bit. Well, all of a sudden in conference games, and we're deep enough into the season, look at conference-only stats because everyone's playing the same teams. You're number 2 in scoring defense, number 2 in scoring offense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's that – we don't have like this glaring weakness. We do have things we got to get better at. I thought our kicking game this last Saturday, it made my eyes bleed. We gave up a 50-yard punt return. We had 2 balls bounce on the ground on KOR. We had a pooch punt situation that we banged in the end zone. So we need to dial back in our kicking game. But and I think our defense, our pass defense, has got to get better. Especially this week. So there's a lot of stuff that we got to focus on getting better. And I think the one thing that this team has been able to do is they still make it about us. Here's Tennessee State. Here's what we got to do. But really, what is it that this team needs to do this week? What is it that this team needs to get better at? And they really seem to try to lock in and focus on those things.
Because Tennessee State throws the ball a lot, and they throw it well. They have a good passing quarterback.
Yep. And I think they're number 11 in the country on third down. They're number 17 on red zone offense. I'm talking about in the country. So not only are they passing, they're also really good with their situational football. They're able to move chains. They're able to score points in the red zone. And so it's going to be a huge challenge for our defense to slow them up. But they have turned it over. All right, and they do make a lot of penalties, so you got to get them offset that way. You got to get them in a 3rd and long, and then you got to get off the field.
Well, right now you were talking about turnovers gained. You have gained 22 turnovers. You've only turned it over 7 times. 7 times. The next closest team in the league has turned it over 10 times, and that's Austin Peay. You lead the league with 14 interceptions, and you also lead the league with 8 fumbles recovered. So you're leading the league in both of those categories, interceptions and fumble recoveries.
Yeah, they need to, hey, what's the points off of that? Because that's what'll really blow your mind, of how many touchdowns after those turnovers. And so, we got to, the key is, can we do it again and 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 then again and again and again and again and then do it over and over and over. That's the thing that the kids got to understand is we got to eliminate the human nature. Like, human nature is, hey, we're good. I can't wait to play this Saturday, man. My girl's going to come see me play. Man, I'm going to go out to Wings afterwards. I'm going to have all kinds of, But really, last week hurt you this week. Your target just got bigger and bigger. And then guess what? We put a number 24 on your back that everybody's going to shoot for. And so it doesn't make it easier. It actually makes it harder. And so we have to even have a better Monday than we've had, a better Tuesday, better Wednesday, a better Thursday, a better Friday.
When you look at passing offense in the Ohio Valley Conference, in terms of conference-only games, Tennessee State ranks right up there near the top, Coach. What makes their passing game so good? I do know Chris Rowland, their wide receiver, actually, he doesn't lead the league in reception yardage, but he leads the league in receiving yards per game. He's the only wide receiver in the league averaging over 100 receiving yards per game, and he's a guy that goes about 5'8".
Well, they're good at it. They got good receivers, just like you're saying, but they protect well. Their O-line are big and agile. Their quarterbacks has done a really, really good job. And so they're just really good at it. And that's if you're them, they're going to think they're going to throw for 700 yards against us.
They have used 2 quarterbacks. What are you seeing on film? Michael Hughes is their main guy, 7.
The other one's out for the year.
Okay, so Croft is done, so it's Hughes. And
He's
you
the same
saw
guy,
Hughes last year.
Right, exactly. So we know a lot about him. He's a bigger guy. He's got a great arm, very poised. He's not like he doesn't panic. He has good ball security in the pocket, some things like that. He's a really good player. He was the offensive player of the week when they played 2 weeks ago. They had a bye this week. But
is that an advantage for them? They get 2 weeks to prepare for you?
Sure. That's the one thing that I'm going to tell my team is they're going to be the freshest. They've only played 6 games for one because they've lost some games because of the weather, and they had a bye. And so if our people in the room watch that game, are they going to look fresher than us? Like, we have to do a tremendous job taking care of our bodies, sleeping, eating, hydrating, and then, play at an elite level of effort all game long, even though they might be fresher than you.
So you look around the league. I know you're concerned about yourself, but how quickly after you talked to your team, you had to take care of your post-game media responsibilities and things like that. How quickly did you want to know how that Jacksonville-Murray State game came out?
I mean, I was more interested in Zaxby's.
So it didn't concern you?
I'm just not that guy. I mean, I flip my phone on about probably a couple hours after the game or whatever and go through it. But, I'm not a football I enjoy reading a book or listening to a praise and worship song almost more than just, looking at that score. I mean, you obviously look at it, but, I'm not a fan like that. Like, I don't get excited about that. I get excited about playing them, and I can't – every one of them, like, come on. But, other than that, I'm not that excited about it.
So in 2010, when the Redhawks won the OVC championship, their very first one, they go down, final regular season game of the year, they go to Jacksonville. They've got the Gamecocks beat. They muff a snap back to their quarterback with like under a minute to go, and it ends up being like something like 2nd and 31, and they end up picking up the first down. And so they go down on the final play of the game. SEMO's still up. Looks like the Redhawks are going to win the football game. They throw a little out route in the right corner of the end zone, and SEMO's DB slips and falls on the play, catches the football, I think with 3 seconds left, and Jacksonville wins. And it looks like, SEMO had won 9 games in a row, and it looks like that's it. Jacksonville's going to win. So all they have to do is go beat Tennessee Tech, Jacksonville State. All they have to do. They have a 3-touchdown lead at Tech.
Oh, really? I didn't hear all this.
And Watson Brown brings Tech back, and they beat Jacksonville down by 3 touchdowns. And so that's how the Redhawks won the conference championship that year. Right now, as you go into the final 3 weeks of the season, you control your destiny. If you can win against Tennessee State, at Murray, and here against Eastern Illinois, then you are an OVC champion. You're going to get the automatic bid to go to the FCS playoffs. How much are you talking about that with your team? And I know the fans are talking about it. You control to be here with 3 games left in the season and know you control your destiny for a title.
Every team's different. I think some teams can't handle the truth. Some teams can't. You have to like fuzzy math it with them because you're like you can't handle the truth, right? But this team can. Like, I do talk about it, and I talk about it like, how exciting is that? See that emotion that everybody gets around here? Well, use that for your preparation. Like, I'm not. Yeah, we go 3-0. It's an OVC championship. How could you not have a great Monday practice? How could you not get to sleep? How could you not hydrate? How could you not take great care of your body? Like, the thing is you don't want to just be in la-la land, right? You don't want to be dreaming about being on a stage with a trophy. Like, you need to be dreaming about hydration, and you need to be dreaming about reading your keys and all the things it takes to actually make you good.
So in 2010, as the season was rolling along and people are saying, hey, they're really good, they might win the the OVC title. They had crowds of 9,000, 10,000, 11,000 fans, and in the final conference game of the year, there were 11,000 people here at Hawk Stadium.
Really?
Things are starting to build like that right now. I mean, what do fans want, Coach? You know what they want in college football. They want a winner, and they want an exciting brand of football. Are those two fair statements? And that is exactly what your team is bringing to the table every game. Is that fair?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think we ought to ask the fans what they want. I don't. I mean, I'm not a fan. Like, you ain't going to catch me going to Mizzou and up in the stands. Like, I don't even know what. Because I would rather – I watched it – when I watch TV, I have it on mute. So and that's a great question because you do. You feel like you have everything that someone would want to see. You have great storylines. You have, just tremendous character on this team and things like that. I mean, this is all that you would think people will get excited about.
The Red Hawks, the second highest scoring team in the league. They're the hottest team in the league. They're only team with a 4-game winning streak, and they're tied for first place in the conference standings in the loss column, and that's all that matters. All right, let's talk about your tight ends coach and your director of football operations, Joe Ools. When you go on a road trip, you got to schedule 3 big luxury buses. You got to schedule meals for all of these. What's a normal traveling party? How many total souls?
First of all, I just want to make sure I'm clear here. They're not 3 luxury buses.
Okay.
So I don't know what you've. I don't know if the radio bus that you guys drive on or just that, but no, there is
touring buses. How's that?
Okay.
All right.
But yeah, he's amazing. Does a great job. He's a Cape Tiger. He's a SEMO guy. He's got his degree from here. He loves the Red Hawks. He does a great job with their tight ends, and I'm just proud of the progression he's made in the coaching profession, and he's really worked on his craft. And he has to do it the hard way, like I did. I didn't play college football at a high level. He didn't either. And so he's going to have to fight that his whole life. People are going to tell me he ain't good enough and all those things, and he's got to find a way to get it done, and he has. And same way with Austin Crump. He's a kid out of Eureka up in St. Louis. I believe it was 2 years ago he lost his dad, Dewey, unexpectedly, and just heart-wrenching what he has had to go through. Him and Linda, his mom, just found a way to keep getting up every day and keep working, and so proud of him. He started the year number 2 or number 3 actually, and found a way to get a starting job and hasn't looked back. And this guy's going to be really good. He hadn't played a lot of football. As he continues to, as long as he's humble and hungry, he's going to continue to be one of the greats in the OVC. Also,
with Joe Ools, he was on the previous coaching staff.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often. When a new coach and a new staff comes in, usually it's a total overhaul.
Right.
But you kept Joe Ools.
Yeah, and it's good to have him in that. And he's around in 010. Like, there's a lot of I bounce a lot of questions off of him, and he's smart. His beard game's outstanding.
Yes, very good.
Very few people are going to have a better beard than him. Just can't say enough about him. I'm excited about it. You need to get him on. I've been already talking too much.
We're going to get him on right now. That is Coach Took. We're going to talk with Joe Ools, tight ends coach, director of football operations for the Red Hawks when we come back. Southeast, 1 o'clock game Saturday with Tennessee State. Joe Ools will join us when we come back to Wings, Etc., Red Hawks Coaches Show on SEMO ESPN.
Game on the TV, make a sports bar, Wings, Etc., and Cape and Jackson bake to dip.
We are at Wings, etc. in Cape Girardeau, and don't forget we'll be back here next week also at the Cape location, and we invite you to join us for lunch. Don't forget their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $6.49. They have food and drink specials throughout the week, and that includes Mondays, where their award-winning jumbo wings are just 69 cents. And, of course, the dining rooms are all filled with televisions on the latest sporting events or sports on every one of these high-definition flat-screen TVs. You can watch Monday Night Football here tonight, and the latest, if you're an NBA fan, we've got plenty of it here at Wings, etc. So we invite you to join us here. Let's talk it over with the tight ends coach for the Red Hawks and the director of football operations, Joe Ools. Coach Tuke was speaking very glowingly about your beard game. How much competition is there among the coaching staff in the beard category?
There's some people coming after the title. You know, Coach Knapp showed up, and his was pretty long, but he's like since trimmed it. So I don't know what's going on there. I'm not really sure what's underneath there anymore. I've had one so long.
So my question is, last year Coach Tuke got involved. He had the full beard all season. We've never got a straight answer about what happened to the beard. Yeah, I mean it's a lifestyle, you know, and there's a lot to it, and you know he wanted to just get to work. I guess I'm willing to do it. There are no shortcuts in the beard game, is what you're saying.
No, you got to do it just like in life.
Hard work. Now, for those who recognize the name Joe Ools, legendary baseball coach at Southeast Missouri State, was the all-time winningest baseball coach for a long stretch at Southeast. He is my
grandfather. Yeah, he's my dad's dad, and I never got to meet him, unfortunately. You know, he passed away before I was born. But I've heard lots of great stories about him. Now, countless people have come up to me, tell me, you know, what a difference he's made in their lives, you know, as a coach. So that's really important to me as a coach. But yeah, so it's definitely an inspiration for me in my coaching career.
Now, how long have you been at Southeast?
I started as a student assistant in 2010, so that was my first year here.
So you were here for the run at the conference championship, and we were just talking about the way that game ended at Jacksonville State. I mean, it's like 2nd and 31. You know, after a bad snap, and it had a cornerback fall down.
D lineman has the quarterback in his hands, and he breaks loose. Yeah, it was a heartbreaker to say the least.
But I mean, there was almost no thought in my mind. I don't know about your mind. There was almost no thought in my mind that Tennessee Tech was going to be able to beat Jacksonville the next week. How about that?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I can still remember sitting at my dad's house watching it. It was amazing. All of a sudden, oh wow, here they go, and do it.
And it's a 3-touchdown difference. I think it was like 20 points.
Yeah.
And they came back and ended up winning the football game. So you are the one guy on the coaching staff who can say, hey, I saw the playoffs. You know, this is what it was like around here. You saw those packed stadiums in 2010. I mean, we're hoping for a massive turnout here for the Tennessee State game, but you've seen it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one thing I've told coaches that, you know, have come and gone is like, if you get it going, you know, they'll be here to support us, and the town wants a winner and wants us to do well. And I'm excited to see what the crowd's going to look like this Saturday.
And the one year that you did make it to the playoffs, 2010, losing to the national champions, Eastern Washington won it. I don't think I've ever asked you, what do you think about that stupid red-looking turf that they've got out there?
Yeah, it was hard on the eyes watching film all week, and there was about, 4 feet of snow on the ground. It seemed like. I'll never forget, in the end zone they had a 10-foot-high pile they had to shovel off for the whole field.
Those were huge snow drifts in the ends of the end zone.
Yeah, but it was quite an experience to get to fly up there and be a part of that, and hopefully we can do it again.
How about when they decided to make a coaching change at Southeast? As an assistant coach, you got to think, man, that's usually it.
Yeah.
They usually replace everybody on a coaching staff. That was not the case. Coach Tuke kept you, and you've been working your way up the ladder ever since. How uncertain were you when they were making the coaching change about what you were going to do?
Yeah, completely uncertain. You know, you don't know. You know, I've had no connection to Coach Tuke, and I think the operations side helped me, you know, get to help build that with Coach Tuke. But, you know, and also I wasn't on the field at that time, and he brought me on, was lucky enough, you know, for him to do that for me. But, yeah, you don't know. And he brought me on, and it was kind of cool there for a couple months. You know, as he's hiring the staff and all that, it's us, he and I, putting the program together, getting stuff going, and just showing around campus, if anything else.
So you were the tour guide / foot director of operations. And I just don't – people show up on a game day, whether it's at Houck Stadium or whether it's on the road. They have no idea what goes into what you do behind the scenes. And I do. I mean, I've been traveling
sure.
with all the sports for a lot of years, and you do a marvelous job. 3 buses, full. I mean, what's the number on a traveling party for a normal road game?
Just a standard road game is probably 110 people.
Okay,
so
110 human beings on 3 buses, and then you've got to work out all of the logistics in terms of you're going to stop somewhere, whether it's at a football stadium to work out or whether it's at a rest area so you can get out and stretch. You've got to have food and hydration for everybody, hotel rooms. I mean, and, you know, if everything runs smoothly, everyone thinks, well, it should run smoothly. Yeah. The first time it doesn't, where is Coach Ools?
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, it's a lot, and luckily Coach Napoli, our strength coach, does a lot to take the meals off of me. But, yeah, the best sound I hear all day when we go on a road trip is those buses backing into Rosengarten, because I know at least we can go somewhere. You know, we may not have food, but we can go somewhere. And, you know, been doing it a while now, and it's kind of second nature. And but there's definitely a lot to it. You're right. And, you know, we have a lot of people here for home games that do a lot too. You know, obviously I don't have as much with us not traveling, but there's a lot of game operations that goes on, marketing and all that. I'm getting ready to go to a meeting about that here once I get done. You know, just everything that's going on with this weekend, and there's a lot of people doing a lot of work to make sure it runs smoothly.
So also, every player needs to have some sort of a schedule. They need to know where they need to be, at what time they got to be there, and then what's required when you do get there. For a while there, I know you gave lanyards, and it had everybody's schedule, just where they needed to be and the whole thing. Now it's all high-tech, right?
Yep. Yeah, Teamworks is what it's called. It's software out of North Carolina, and like 80% of BCS programs use it. Like people who don't care about money really like it, so that tells me it's a good product. And, you know, we're able to send out messages right now to guys. They know exactly where things are going to be. You know, they're on their phone anyway. You might as well be looking at what you're going to do. And, you know, say we have to move practice to the stadium because of weather, you know, I can send a text out like that, and they've got it, and everybody knows. So, training staff and everybody.
And that, you know, that's let's face it, they're creatures of habit, and they need direction and schedules, and that's a big responsibility of yours.
Yeah, absolutely, and just kind of making sure everybody's on time, and, you know, taking roll and like just everything that goes into it. I'm looking forward to, you know, there's a flight feature on there. Hopefully I can get booking, you know, organizing a flight and where everybody's going to sit in one of those times.
Well,
soon.
For when we go to the playoffs.
Exactly, yeah.
Got to get the plane reservations. I want to ask you about Austin Crump because he's the tight end that has seen the bulk of the playing time this year. Redshirt sophomore out of Eureka. He came into now he had a couple of catches on Saturday, but 5 catches and 3 of them had been for touchdowns. That's a pretty high ratio. Talk a little about Austin Crump, because he's made some clutch plays for SEMO this year, including the game-winning catch at SIU. Yeah, I've been really proud of his growth in the last year. You know, he was a guy that always physically had it, and it was just about him learning how to sign off and do his best. I mean, he'd win sprints by 3-4 steps, but still it's about, you know, you need to get better. It's not just about what you're, you know, beating people. It's your best. You know, and he coming in, not sure what he's going to do, you know, catching the ball, those kind of things, and he'd be able to block. And, you know, about the last week in fall camp, he catches the ball, breaks a tackle, runs over somebody, and go, okay, we're going to be okay. But yeah, it was really cool seeing him score twice at SIU, and has been really, really dependable for us in the past game. And Jacksonville State. Yep, absolutely. You know, we're up in the booth, and Rick Weiser is a color analyst, and he's in the Hall of Fame as a quarterback here. I mean, before 2010, Rick Weiser led them to their last conference championship, I think, in 1974. So, you know, there's a guy that's a quarterback that looks at the field a little bit differently. And during the stretch of that game, several times he said, hey, the tight end is open over the middle here. I'm just telling you right now, SEMO hasn't utilized it yet, but there's an option there. And, boom, it probably wasn't 6 or 7 minutes later they hit Austin Crump in the end zone. Yeah, it was funny. There's a couple times where you're all by yourself and you wish, but, you know, Santa had his read on the other side, and by the time we come to it, they get it fixed like they should. But yeah, he's dependable, and we talk a lot about it. Don't ever get surprised. You know, you may not get that ball, you know, 49 times out of 50, but that 50th time, you need to be ready for it and be ready to make the play. Well, he has done a fabulous job so far. And how fun is this? I mean, you made a conference championship run in 2010. Does it have the same feel? Yeah, it does. You know, SIU going into that game had a similar feel going into the SIU game that year. And, you know, it's a lot of fun as a coach. You know, kind of my first year in, it was all a whirlwind. Like, man, this is great if this is how it's going to be every year. But have had the lean years the last few. And so it's really
satisfying for all that work to start paying off and guys making plays, which is exciting.
So what's the game plan against Tennessee State this week?
Getting into it. I mean, it'll be a lot of what we do, still a lot of balance. It's pretty easy to hand the ball to number 3 and let him run. And Santa does a great job throwing the ball, and so it'll just continue to be a balanced attack and, push the tempo like we always do and do what we do.
Let's get a huge crowd there.
Yep.
1 o'clock Saturday, Tennessee State Tigers will be in town. Coach, good to see you. Thanks so much for your time, and we'll see you Saturday at the stadium.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That's tight ends coach Joe Ools, Director of Football Operations at Southeast Missouri State. His protege, tight end Austin Crump, going to join us when we come back to the Red Hawks Coaches Show at Wings Etc. on SEMO ESPN. It's the Red Hawks Coaches Show, live from Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau. And don't forget, we'll be right back here in the Cape location next week, 12 noon. And hopefully we'll be talking about a big Red Hawks victory over the Tennessee State Tigers, who will bring their game to Houck Stadium Saturday at 1 o'clock. Let's talk it over with the Red Hawks tight end, Austin Crump, who is from Eureka, Missouri. Now, if for someone who may not be familiar with Eureka, how would you describe where Eureka's situated?
Well, if people don't know where Eureka is, I always bring up Six Flags.
There it is.
And then people are like, oh, okay, I know where that's at. About 30 minutes outside of St. Louis, Class 6 school. We're a bunch of grinders out there. We try to basically do what we do here at SEMO, just take care of the football, play hard, play physical, play fast.
Now, how's Eureka doing this year?
As far as I know, they're doing well. I think they've only lost 1 game this year, so they're going to make another playoff run this year, which I'm excited to keep track of.
All right, we've got several teams in Southeast Missouri that are having really good years. Jackson is going to host a playoff game this Friday. Hayti, there are all kinds of good programs here in Southeast Missouri. So you grew up around one. Got to ask you, did you have just like summer passes to Six Flags that's in your backyard?
Yeah, I did have a season pass for quite a while. So, people are like, oh, let's go to Six Flags. I'm like, all right, this is just another thing for me.
It doesn't wow you like it used to, right?
Yeah, no, it's just, kind of another thing to do there. So. All
right, favorite ride, where does Mr. Freeze rank?
Mr. Freeze is cool. They got to go in backwards now, so you can ride out backwards instead of forwards. The first time I got on that, I was like, I don't know, But I like the Batman.
Good one.
One of my favorites.
Now, see, when I was a kid, and I was probably 9 or 10 years old. The Screaming Eagle wasn't that old back then, and there was no Batman, there was no Mr. Freeze, and the Screaming Eagle. That thing flew. It's probably not as exciting now because of some of the newer things, but the Screaming Eagle. What are your thoughts on the Screaming Eagle?
Yeah, that's definitely a classic. That'll shake you around too. So you got to be careful if you got a little back problem or neck problem. They tell you to stay off it because you might injure yourself.
Austin Crump is the tight end for the Red Hawks. Already 3 touchdown catches for you. I think what's interesting is some people may not know, you didn't even play tight end in high school. This is a total brand new position. You were an offensive lineman, right?
Yes, sir. I played left tackle my senior year, and then my junior year I kind of rotated around. We had some injuries, so I kind of filled in. But, yeah, they recruited me here as a tight end, and that's kind of, what I fell into, and I really like the position.
So you catch the game-winning touchdown in Carbondale at SIU. They're in, I mean, and now this is final minute. I mean, the pressure's on. They're in the huddle, or you guys don't even really huddle. So you hear the play call. You know about this play where they're running everybody to the right. They sneak you out to the left, and they throw you the football, and hopefully you're going to be open. Now, the way we understand it, you guys had worked on that play all week leading up to the SIU game. Didn't know if you were going to use it, but you'd worked on it. Tell us about working up to the game and then when you heard that was the call.
Well, earlier in the game we called it before, but their cornerback covered it, so Santa had to scramble, and we kind of just, it was a broken play. But that point in the game, everybody was locked in. We're all focused in there, and the O-line does a really good job selling. And then we got that the wide receiver on the other side runs an over route across. He does a good job getting over there. And I just break free, and Santa makes a good pass. Some people are like, "Oh man, you look a little slow out there," and I said, "Yeah, I kind of felt slow." But
now you're running for the left pylon.
Left pylon.
There's not much time left in the game. If you get tackled, that may be all she wrote. You may not get an opportunity to win this football game. What's going through your mind, and did you think you were going to get to the pylon?
Yeah, no, I had my eyes set on that pylon the whole time. I run in, and I got the ball in my right hand, and I'm running, and out of nowhere I just dive, and I stick my arm out, and the pylon hits my elbow, and I got the ball in, and, I eventually dropped the ball once I was out, turn around, look at the ref, he puts his hands up, and I was like, wow, I got in. So that was. Where
does that rank? I mean, you've been. When did you start playing football?
I've been playing football since 3rd grade.
Okay, so you've been playing football since 3rd grade. Where does that play for you rank in your sports pantheon?
That's up there at the top. Might be the number one. You see and you hear about all these plays like the game-winning touchdown or the play that sparks something else, but you see it and you don't ever think, oh, that might have happened to me, but that was one of those plays. But really got to give it to my team. That was a great team win. The whole game we always thought, oh, we're going to win this game. There was never a doubt in our mind that we weren't going to win that game.
So it's the first ever war for the wheel. So you guys win the wheel. Did you get to hold the wheel? Because I'm just saying somebody broke the wheel.
Yeah, no, I don't know who broke the wheel, but yeah, we got to get to hold it, take pictures in the locker room with it, so that'll be something everybody remembers forever, and we're getting a spot for it put up in the locker room, so hopefully it stays there.
And in the video highlights, you see toward the very end, you're wearing the sign-off chain. Tell us about the sign-off chain, because people Saturday against Tennessee State are probably going to see some players on the Red Hawks sideline wearing a chain that says sign-off, and they're saying, what is that?
Well, that's Coach Tuke's motto, sign off your best. I mean, that's what he preaches all the time, and I think that's what's got us through this year a lot, And that chain is basically just a physical representation of that motto. If somebody makes a good play or just does something over the top, he's working. Devin Alexander, he's usually the one that Coach Tuke gives him to, just to hold on to it for us, because he's a good leader, good role model for us. So when he's off and somebody comes off the field, he gives him the chain and wears it until he's got to go back in or somebody else makes a great play, and then we pass it off to them.
So has anybody come off the field after making a play? Where's the chain?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
But
if I was Zach Hall and I made a diving one-handed interception, I may come off the field and say, does anyone have the chain?
I think it was waiting for him when he made that play. That was a cool play.
That was fun. How fun was it for you? We talk about the touchdown you scored against SIU, but how fun was it to score one against Jacksonville State? And how many times were you open over the middle? Because we were watching for the press box, and it looked like there were a few times that you were open.
Yeah, that game was a great game, but I was just doing my job. You just run out, you got to run your route, and Santa makes his reads, and if he finds me, he finds me. But we said all game, just keep running, and he'll find you eventually. So,
how fun is it to play with this guy? I mean, he looks unflappable. I mean, he has been really, really good as any quarterback in the league. He's I think second in passing yards and tied for number one with 19 touchdown passes.
Yeah, Santa's a great quarterback. He's really got some good skills and awareness back there. He the game against this weekend against UT Martin, he made some plays for us. You know, if an offensive lineman or something we miss a job or something, he's going to be able to back us up. You know, make a scramble play or something, which is really cool because we all build off each other. We all play off each other. So if one person maybe misses their assignment, then somebody else is going to be able to pick them up and say, hey, I'm here for you. You know, that's kind of been the theme this year.
Have you ever come back to the line of scrimmage saying I was wide open?
Yeah, I have, but that's I kind of got over that. That's a first time thing, but because I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Like, this is my first time running a route in a real game, so if I'm wide open, what am I thinking here? But he's making his pre-snap reads, and that's what we're going with, and I trust him every single play. So.
Now, the word on the street is you were a lacrosse player in high school.
Yes, sir.
All right, tell us about that.
Lacrosse was a really fun sport. I think that really helped me with my speed and agility, coming out through high school. I started as a freshman in high school, so I played 4 years. I really missed the sport. It's really cool. Works on your hand-eye coordination. I really think it goes into football well. And if I was a young kid out there and trying to want to find a new sport, I would say go play lacrosse, especially because it's a springtime sport. So you got spring lacrosse, fall football, and then you could play a summer sport if you want to, or you spend your time training. But I really think lacrosse is a great sport. It really counteracts football.
Do they have? Is there an intramural lacrosse at all? Is there a lacrosse club at SEMO? Any place you can kind of play? Practice a little lacrosse?
I'm not really sure. There might be, but we're always so busy.
Sure.
I've never really had time to look into that.
So how excited are you here? 3 games left, and you can win a conference championship, and it all starts Saturday.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. We're really staying locked in. I really see out all the players. We're focusing on the task at hand. I think coach has really done a good job of, keeping us locked in, making sure we respect our opponent because every team is another team, and every team can beat you if you don't go out there and play.
Are you on social media?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think it's Austin_Crump_98 at Twitter, and then my Instagram is acrump98.
98. Now, 98 is not your SEMO number. Was that your high school number?
No, that's the year I was born.
Okay.
And when I grew up playing football, that was my number. But it was one of my dad's favorite numbers, so I always liked that number. So.
Fantastic. All right.
Yes, sir.
Fired up for Saturday in Tennessee State?
Yes, sir. Going to have another good home game, so hopefully we got a good crowd out there and show them some action.
Can't wait. That'll be at 1 o'clock at Houck Stadium on Saturday. We'll see you over there, Austin. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Austin Crump, Red Hawks tight end. And that is going to do it for the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We'll be right back here at 12 noon next Monday as hopefully celebrating a Red Hawk big victory over the Tennessee State Tigers. Stay tuned. Stephen A. Smith Show coming up on ESPN Radio. So long, everybody, from Wings.
It's Southeast Missouri's ESPN.